let's get on to our main discussion of the day, which of course is the Liverpool United game, where pretty much two main talking points to pretty much address here. First off is the results. What the results means, the performance of both teams. And also it's the whole VAR thing, because I need you guys to help me out here. I need you guys to tell me why Premier League referees can't look at the monitor, but La Liga, Liga 1, Bundesliga, every other league I watch it in, they always look at the monitor and look at the screen and give the decision. But Premier League, just the way they're interpreting the use of the VAR and how referees the VAR is completely different from how every other league does, which it doesn't really make sense. So before we really get to the whole VAR discussion, let's look at the football. I was impressed with what United did. Because I was looking at my Twitter page, I said 1-1. Because I just felt that the whole narrative of like, they'll be destroying us, like, it just normally doesn't really happen that way. When people will assume this team will get beaten, once the occasion happens, it just doesn't happen that way. So for me, do you feel that United let that one get away based on how much they controlled the game? Or do you feel that for Liverpool, they could have done better? Or is it a case of Liverpool should have done better, or we should be giving more credit with how Solskjaer was able to set up, despite Liverpool missing Salah in the team?
Firstly, you said 1-1 last week as well, didn't you? I think you said 1-1. I think I said Liverpool going to win, but I believe you said.
Did I say? Oh, I think
you said it was going to be 1-1. But firstly, I just want to say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got his tactics spot on in the first half, especially. I think what he did in finding the space behind Robertson and Trent and kind of nullifying Robertson and Trent as they was going forward with the wing backs, I think you have to applaud him for that. I don't think Liverpool turned up. I think they played the occasion more so than the team again. Yep. But I do think I can't remember Alisson having any saves to make though. And as much as Man United looked decent, they weren't really a threat apart from the goal.
Yeah, I think there was one. We had 2 shots on target.
I think was there someone? Pereira had a couple of chances, and Pereira's a funny one for me because at the beginning of the game I was like, this guy is trash. But then, as the game kind of grew on, he got better and better. But at the beginning he was ruining every move Man United had. They had some good opportunities to play the ball through, and he was picking the wrong option and whatnot. But I think, you have to give Solskjaer props for that. I think in the second half, he could have been a little braver. For me, I would have brought on Martial for Pereira when it was 1-0 and given Liverpool really something to think about because Liverpool were coming on. I'd have brought on Martial, said, right, you come at us. We're going to attack those spaces with James, Rashford, Martial, all pacey players. You come at us. If we break, you're in trouble. But they sat back, and it was inevitable that Liverpool were going to score. I think he missed the trick there. By being a little bit braver, he could have got a good result. Well, it is a good result on paper. But he could have got a really good result, which really could have changed Man United's season. Imagine you beat Liverpool at Old Trafford. Now all of a sudden you're on cloud 9. Next game you can't wait to start. I think he missed the trick there.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Devon said. I think, listen, I'm going to tell it like it is. First half, he out-thought Klopp. He tactically outclassed him. Klopp didn't know where to go. Klopp, in the end, he probably changed the formation 3 or 4 times before they got the equaliser. That was really an error defensively on our part. As much as Alisson didn't have anything to saves to make, De Gea didn't have anything to do other than the one Firmino dribble shot that kind of like we nullified Liverpool. And people say, yeah, but you're at home. The majority of people go into the game thought Liverpool were going to win and comfortably. Like, they were talking 3s and 4s and 5s. So, the fact that De Gea... We actually, in the last podcast, we spoke about whether De Gea's going to have to make 15 saves. I remember someone saying 12 saves. Yeah. That just wasn't the case.
No, I think literally 2 saves.
It was comfortable.
Yeah.
So, in that first half, Klopp didn't know what to do. I think when we saw the lineup, it was like, or the formations, like, whoa.
Already on the left.
No, I'm talking about Man United, sorry. We're like, different. It was 3, or was it the 5? But I was so happy that he had the fullback, the wing backs pushed up, so it was more a 3-4-3 or 3-4-1-2 rather than a 5-3-2. And that, I think, the average positions of Trent and Robertson were like 20 meters deeper than their average normal positions. And we know that's what Liverpool like. So yeah, let them have it in the midfield. Yeah. We know that their midfield, Henderson
was terrible.
Can't do nothing. Listen, sorry, Daryl.
He was terrible.
We were on the football terrorist, the FT show, doing the combined 11, and man had the audacity to say that Henderson over Pogba. Oh, come on! Henderson was awful. Yeah. He was awful, and he's not a good player. Generally, he's decent at best.
Even that didn't make sense when he brought on Ox and he pushed Henderson to the right and had Ox in the middle. I was like, what?
I was saying, the man had to change the formation time again. But I said, to answer your question, was it an opportunity miss? Yes, because we were the best side in the first half, easily. We didn't create a bag of chances, but we were the best side. Easily.
Let's hold it up. Guys, there are 5 minutes left for the poll. It is very, very tight.
Yeah.
There's literally like 1 or 2% between certain players. So if you haven't voted yet, go to my Twitter page or Dev's Twitter page and vote now, because there's actually 1% between 2 players. So try and put that in the board. Sorry.
But I think, as you said, that second half we let it go because we started the second half and it was like, I think we kind of went to a 5 at the back.
Yeah, it was too negative.
And said, let Liverpool have the ball and we'll try to hit them a counter. And I think we had one opportunity on the counter where Rashford and James broke. I think James went across to the left, Rashford came inside and had the shot. But other than that, we didn't really threaten in the second half. And whilst Liverpool weren't, banging on the door, you just felt that there's time and time when...
You gave them away back
in. We did.
You invited them on you a bit too much.
And I think that's where Solskjaer has fallen down in terms of his in-game management.
Substitutions are poor.
Well, for me, it's a tough one because if you look at our squad, that's the thing. Yeah. Look at our squad as a whole, first and foremost.
Martial was on the bench.
Pogba was out. Martial, I think he trained maybe 1 or 2 days in a week. The question is, how much can he give? What can he give? Can he give the running that a tired James and Rashford can give? I don't know. To be fair, Martial did come on before the goal, but it was only like a few minutes before the goal. And other than that, who you really got to bring on? We already had the injury when Axel pulled up in the warm-up.
Oh yeah.
All we had was Brandon Williams who came on.
Was Greenwood on the bench?
He's
not fit either, is he? Greenwood. Hasn't he just come back from a knock as well?
He may well have. I'm not sure. Yeah. But it's like, look at the options that he didn't. Whereas Liverpool, their bench, even though their squad, if you compare to Man City, ain't great, but they've got Oxlade, they've got Naby Keita, they've got Lallana, Shaqiri, I don't know, was Shaqiri on the bench, I'm not sure. But they've got options that can change the game. Yeah. We were struggling. He could have made a substitution earlier, but I think the tactics itself left ourselves open.
Mentioning Pogba. So let's say Pogba played in the game. Do you think that would have sort of like changed things, helped United, harmed United?
I do think it would have, and the reason why is because
would have what?
I think it would have helped United, and the reason why, there was a few times where there was runs made by Rashford or James and Pereira. A couple of times he found them, but I know Pogba would have found them in the right way. He might not have helped doing as much as what Pereira did in the legwork and everything like that. But I think McTominay and Fred had really good games in the base of that midfield. I think if Pogba would have played on those attacks when Rashford and James were making those runs, Pogba finds them. Pogba finds them, puts them in good positions to be dangerous.
But do you think Pogba would have? Because I think what United did very well in the middle, they hustled really hard. Yeah. And they made it very, very difficult. So do you think that Pogba would not have been a detriment to the kind of...
Well, this is the thing. For me, it comes down to where Solskjaer would have played him. Yeah. If Solskjaer played him in replacement for Fred, then no, I think it would have been more of a detriment because of the job that Fred and McTominay were doing. But if they played him as a replacement for Pereira, I think it would have been better. But based on what we've done this season so far, I believe if Pogba was fit, he would have been in the midfield instead of Fred. And it could have cost us, and probably would have cost us because that's not his role, that's not his
Fred
job.
Was really good, actually.
Our best games, finally, in the big games, have been without Pogba. PSG away, when you need to. I ain't talking about when you're playing Cardiff and Huddersfield, when you need that creativity. But when you need a midfield to work and to harass, etc., etc. PSG away. There was another game I can't remember. Even the Liverpool game at the end of last season when everyone was down and out. Those games when you need that energy in the midfield, for me, you push Pogba up behind the striker. But I don't know if Solskjaer's going to do that, but that's where he needs to be.
So let's look at Liverpool. I mean, for me, like obviously, I think we are sort of, me and Dave were sort of like talking about this briefly before. Because okay, Salah's down, I get it. But then when I looked at it, I was like, what is that? Okay, I know that Salah's injured, but the setup that Liverpool had didn't make any mistake. For me, it was obvious, and I was saying to Deborah that unless your hand is forced, play your players in their best position. Salah is out, Mane out on the left, either an Oxlade or a Shaqiri on the right, and you decide either you go with Firmino as a striker or Origi as a striker. Origi's best position is as the striker. He is very awkward on the wing, and again, I'm no professional player at all, so but this is just basic stuff. Whenever I played out on the wing, the way my brain functioned was different. I just couldn't function. You put me in centrally, my brain just functions differently. There are people who are, like, you know what I always say? A wide player can play centrally not too well. A central player can't play out wide. That's like a little football 101. I don't know that you guys agree. A guy who is naturally centrally cannot play out wide. A guy who is out wide can play centrally, but not too well. But if the guy has always been played centrally, put him out wide, the way your brain functions, limited space, you just don't know how to navigate this. So for me, Origi was pretty much ineffective there, and that is such a vital position for Liverpool.
But do you
put United in there?
Do you put Origi through the middle at the expense of Firmino?
No,
because you say you say your best players in your best position.
No. You make a choice. For me, you start with Firmino. If it doesn't work, you bring in Origi. For me, I think the start should have been Firmino, Senza, Mane left. Then you decide whether you want to go for Ox or Shaqiri out on the right.
I thought it was strange Origi was starting on the left and Mane was moved across to the right, because Mane has been in devastating top 3 in the world form from the left. Why would you move him across to the right? It makes no sense to me, unless he was thinking that, you know, Wan-Bissaka's down the right. You know, maybe Wan-Bissaka's down the right. Let me target Ashley Young with Mane, which makes sense in a way. But I think, again, the tactics of Solskjaer by putting Rojo and the back 3 means that Ashley Young had insurance. Yeah. And it meant Origi was just constantly trying to cut inside because he wants to. And then what have you got inside? You have the back 3. Yeah. So I think having Mane on the left and having him try and go past Wan-Bissaka on the wing could create problems, because now
I would have loved to see Mane against Wan-Bissaka. You know, I would have loved it.
Wan-Bissaka,
I'm happy he wasn't there.
Wan-Bissaka done his thing, done his thing, man. I think Wan-Bissaka had a great game, both defensively and offensively, which is something that people say he's not very good at going forward. But I think he made some good runs. He was an option on the right quite a lot.
But a couple good crosses. Some of them needs to.
But going back to Liverpool, I think Klopp got it wrong by moving Mane to the right. I think when you've got someone like Oxlade, Chamberlain on the bench who could play wide right quite easily, he puts in a good cross. You know, he could quite easily play there. I think you took away a lot from your team by moving Mane. You know, Mane is one of the most devastating players in world football at the moment. Play him on the left. I think he got that one wrong.
And man told me that Matip was second best defender in the league.
He didn't look great yesterday, Matip.
Listen. Rashford had him on toast.
Rashford's not a central striker though.
But
he's not. Yeah,
but he wasn't playing central yesterday.
No, but he started central. There was one period.
Because he's not okay. So what?
But he's an inside forward. He's an inside forward.
But for me, yesterday was what I want to see, because they had, as it was the 3-4-3 or 3-4-1-2, and it was the split strikers. Yeah. James and Rashford, and obviously ideally it will be Rashford and Martial. So your work is very wide and you come in. Yeah. And for me, he did that well yesterday.
He did that. But there was one particular moment I remember, and a cross came in from Daniel James, and the run that had to be made. If you're a striker, you make the run across the defender towards the near post, and you meet the ball as it's being played in. He tried to make the run that, funny enough, got him the goal.
Was that
later on?
Well, because he ran in,
but he ran in
took
and then
Matip
took out.
and then
But
went
this
out.
time he just ran straight out, and the ball was there to be won. But for me, a central striker, if you know that you're a striker, you know where to attack the ball.
But I think the position, that he played yesterday, for me, is where I want to see him. Because,
Inside forward.
Yeah, it's a wide forward, inside forward, and you saw that when he can run at a man in space, as opposed to having his back to goal, holding up play. That's not him. That's not him. He ain't never going to be good at that. No matter when he reaches peak, or whatever. I want to see him run at a man, being brave.
So let's now look at this whole VAR thing. So I think there were two incidents.
Two big incidents.
Two big incidents in VAR. So obviously the
just
first
that
one
game,
was the one that led to the goal where apparently Origi was apparently fouled. Play happened, a great cross from Daniel James. Average player, very effective, Daniel James. I like his walk rates. Great cross, Rashford put it in, boom, and then people then looked back at it. VAR looked back and was like, nah, there was no foul given there. And then I think the other VAR one was the
handball.
Mane one.
The handball, yeah.
Let me just ask you guys this. So first one is, do you think the first VAR decision was right with the foul on Origi? And the second one is this. Which moron, which numbskull came up with the genius idea that said, if I'm just running, doing my thing, and the ball just hits my arm, I have no clue whatsoever. I've not used the arm to help me move forward. The arm has not helped me control the ball. I've not used my hand to get an advantage. The ball just hits my hand.
See, now...
Is that a bloody flipping at the ball?
That did gain a massive advantage.
It did. That's the thing.
That gained a massive advantage.
Yes,
it stopped the ball into his
exactly.
path. The ball was running through to De Gea.
Exactly. It would have carried on bouncing.
Whether deliberate or not, the ball hit his hand and it stopped. So I understand that. The one that got me was the Gareth Bale one against Thing, where it hit his hand and then he volleyed it. You remember the Champions League?
Oh.
Recently.
No, that was handball.
Yeah, that was handball. That was handball. But at the same time, I don't think it changed the trajectory of the ball.
The Laporte one. That was the where he went for against Spurs, where he went for the header and it brushed his... that was the one where you're like, this rule is ridiculous. Yeah. But for me, it's the wording of the rule because it's like any handball. It's black and white, so at least you know any handball is a infringement. But the Laporte one, for me, is when you look at it, it's like, that's never a handball. You can't give that. But the Mane one, for me, it gave him an advantage. The Laporte one didn't gain an advantage. The Mane one, for me, is a handball. It has to. The ball travels so far as well. It's not like it took a deflection off Lindelof and hit him in his hand. It's a ball that's gone over the top, and his hand is in that position for whatever reason. I'm not saying it's unnatural.
It wasn't. He didn't mean to handball. No. Let's not get it twisted. He didn't mean to.
But additionally, his hand didn't have to be there.
It has given him an advantage, whether he meant it or not. It has given him an advantage. So I can understand that one. And according to the laws of the game, it's a handball. Yeah. So that's why De Gea was so calm. He was calm. I've never seen anyone who's like, nah, that's handball, but that's coming back.
But that's why it's I like the black and white nature of it, because if it wasn't black and white, it would be like it was handball. But does the referee see it as whether he did it deliberately, was getting advantage? He knew handball, that should never be. And if the referee saw it, he would have given it himself.
Where are you on with these new laws then? Are you a fan of these new laws? Do you think that they need to be changed?
See, the handball law, because if I'm not mistaken, it's different for attackers and defenders.
That's my issue.
Which again is strange.
Yeah. Handball is handball.
If the ball's hit your hand as an attacker and it's deemed that you've got an advantage because the ball's hit your hand, why is that any different for a defender?
Say a defender, it's not deliberate, but it stops a goal. Stopping a goal and scoring a goal are two major incidents. Yeah. But for a defender, it can be accident. But for attackers,
because as a defender, if your arm is in an unnatural position, then it's deemed a handball. But for an attacker, if it hits your hand, it's handball. Yeah. So for me, even if a defender's arm is like here, and the ball's going through to an attacker, it hits him in the hand, that's not a handball. But for an attacker the other way around, that don't make no sense. Yeah. For me, that's confusing.
I think the wording needs to be refined to give a bit more I don't know. Again, it's going to make it very subjective, but I like how UEFA have it in the case of, was your body in a silhouette, a natural silhouette? And they've defined what a silhouette looks like. What it would mean is that probably the referee has to go look at the monitor, which the Premier League don't want.
Doesn't make no damn sense.
Okay, what is the argument for the referee not to go in to look at the monitor?
I heard something about it earlier. It's something to do with they don't want to take away subjectivity because it's apparently subjectivity is always going to be there within the game of football. So they don't see any point in the referee coming over to look at the monitor. It makes no sense. For example, the game at Old Trafford, Martin Atkinson is one of the most experienced referees in the league at the moment. He's on the pitch. The referee in the VAR room is one of the least experienced referees in the Premier League. So you got a referee who's not very experienced at all telling one of the most experienced referees to change his mind. How does that work?
Bogus.
How does that work? The Origi incident, they didn't overturn it because the referee said he felt there was no clear and evident foul. So he saw it well. He was in a position. He's not going. So the VAR said, okay, we're not going to even challenge it because the referee said, no, I saw it. There was no foul. That's what it is. And even if he had the choice, and this is where I think it's falling down. If they would have given him the choice to say, go and look at it again, then he may have gone there and said, actually, you know what, I was wrong, and said that was a foul. But he said, no, I saw it when a foul. So as far as he's concerned, VAR doesn't exist. So you can't say it's VAR's fault. It's Martin Atkinson. And this is where people are getting confused. It's not being used correctly in this country. It's not. They're using it incorrect.
For me, the VAR made the right decision, but I don't like the process of VAR, of how the Premier League are running it. Martin Atkinson, for me, put it like this. If I saw the angle from behind live as a referee, I would have given it. If Martin Atkinson was sent over to the TV, I feel he would have overturned it. But even then, that call is subjective. Was it a free kick? Was it not a free kick? I probably would have given it, but I can understand why you wouldn't. Because one, he was losing the ball. He went down theatrically in a way that wasn't consistent with how he was, how the contact happened. He was also holding, for me, the wrong leg for where the contact actually happened.
Hold the right leg.
So I'm saying, so the question is, did the contact, one, cause him to lose the ball or impede him in retrieving the ball? No for both. So the decision itself, from my concern, for me, is subjective. It's up for debate. I personally would have given it. He didn't. But he wasn't given the opportunity to look at it again, which is what VAR was supposed to do. You don't take away the power from the referee. Now, Premier League have taken it one step further. Not only are they not taking away the power from the referee, they are using VAR to confirm the referee's decision as opposed to getting the right decision. So they're not really interested in getting the right decision. It's more to back up the referee as like his pal. I don't want to prove that it was wrong.
And someone just asked, why is there a clear and obvious rule then?
But because they don't. Okay, I'll read. Let me read exactly what the PGMLO said after it. It said,
"Get those facts, baby."
Firstly, the on-field referee didn't think it was a foul, and VAR checked and decided that it wasn't a clear and obvious error to not award a foul. So that's because, as I said, for the things, he went down theatrically, did it actually impede him from getting the ball, etc., etc. Secondly, VAR isn't re-refereeing matches. There is contact, but VAR was comfortable it wasn't enough to disallow the goal. So my issue is that the referee doesn't have the option to change his own decision, which I think it needs to be. You can't have a man out of the pitch, out of the footballing atmosphere, the footballing reality, confirming a decision right or wrong. We saw it on the weekend. There was the Spurs against Watford. Vertonghen kicks Delafeu twice.
Blatant penalty.
It has to be given, but because they don't want to re-referee, they don't want to prove their mates wrong, they're happier. The bar is set so high to overturn a decision when I think it shouldn't be. It should be, we think that there is contact, have a look at it and see if you want to change your decision.
That's how it works everywhere else.
And you leave it with the referee after
That's how it works everywhere else. The referee has the final decision. The referee can even say, even if you say, look, come and have a look at this again. The referee could say, no, I know I got it right, and just play on. And that's on him.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
But they're trying to protect the referee. They take it away from him, and they say, well, the VAR got it, VAR got it right. Well, your process is wrong.
Basically, this just proves why this country voted for Brexit. It's going to be really different.
But so can I just say, sorry, also, there was another incident where Burnley.
Leicester
Chris
Burnley.
Wood. And Chris Wood scored. Now, the difference with that and this one was that the referee didn't see the incident.
Didn't see the clip,
And he didn't, because he didn't see the clip, they weren't re-refereeing his decision. They said, well, there was a clip, therefore the foul.
Although, he was never going to get
he
to
wasn't
that ball.
getting the ball.
He was never going to get to the ball.
I think he was never
going to get to it.
But because the referee, if the referee said, I saw it, but for me, it didn't impede the outcome, then they probably wouldn't have overturned it. But because the referee didn't see it, then they can make another decision. So it all comes from the referee's first
VAR
initial.
is supposed to take away these moments. It's supposed to clear all this up. And it's just creating more confusion.
For me, it never will, because, as I say, even in the Premier League, even as good as UEFA and FIFA's implementation as it is, we saw in the World Cup final, there's a question about the handball. We saw in the Champions League, the Kimpembe handball. So
that was ridiculous.
Well,
but that was because of the change in the rules
in terms of the silhouette and
the
that kind of stuff.
interpretation. Yeah, so that's.
But for me, the most important thing is the referee made the final decision.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line. Whereas for as it is in the Premier League, the VAR is making that final decision, and unless it's offsides or handballs, which are clear cut, black and white in the rules, the referee, the power needs to remain with the referee, and the only way you're going to do that is to send him over to the TV screen to change or stick with his decision. But other than that, Mike Jackson had a good game. Because Liverpool fans...
he did.
Speaking on that, literally, like, one of my mods, natural opinion, he's like, one of my mods, Liverpool fan, he says that, speak about Martin Atkinson's performance. So...
I've challenged Liverpool fans to tell me why Martin Atkinson had a bad game. And all they could say is he gave 3 times more fouls to Man United than he did us. Liverpool attempted twice as many tackles. They're going to have more fouls. They attempted twice as many tackles. Said, Man United didn't have as much possession. But just because you don't have much possession doesn't mean you can't give away fouls. You can have as much as the ball as you want. And once you lose it, you can foul them out to try to get it back. Doesn't mean because you had less possession you should have more foul. It doesn't make no sense. It doesn't correlate.
And Liverpool fans, they're funny, man. They're so funny because they it's a caveat. Because they'll say, "Oh yeah, our midfield was bad, but the referee in the worst performance." And you'll say, "Well, why are you blaming the referee?" No, I'm not blaming the referee. So why are you using a caveat? Yeah. The reality is you weren't good enough. You were fortunate to get away with a draw. That's the bottom line. Now you can look at the statistics all you want in terms of possession, etc. We watched the game. We saw that Man United weren't troubled. They got the goal and they, as a tactic, they sat back and allowed Liverpool on. And Liverpool created one clear opportunity, which was the goal itself. So
and the Firmino chance, which was...
Oh, no, I'm talking about after in the second half when we sat back. Yeah. So you had a 60% possession because we gave you 60% possession. Whether Solskjaer was right or wrong is neither here nor there.
And as Liverpool fans, I just want to know, what about the treatment of Dan James? Because Dan James took some beatings.
And for me,
Fabinho left it on him a few times.
For me, they weren't fouls. For me, they were strong, but he left it on. But we know that if that was a Liverpool player, a la Salah, in the Champions League 2018, petitions would have been out to get certain man banned and sacked and fined and all that kind of crap. So just keep the same energy, man. Martin Jackson. Yeah,
don't get me wrong. Martin Atkinson's a terrible referee. He is.
You know what it is? Sorry,
I hate him.
You know what it is? He sent off Gerrard after 17 seconds for a stamp in his last game against Man United, and they've held it against him ever since.
I think he's a...
Shout out to Gerrard because he said they were Liverpool going to beat us.